Hey guys, Solacespecs here. What I want to talk about today is Path of Exile's in-game and why you will probably never be rich. For those that don't know, the in-game for Path of Exile is essentially this map system where you run a series of maps and hopefully you get the best loot, you get the best experience, you're able to level up your guy, you're able to do great things and enjoy the in-game of Path of Exile. The only problem with this is that in order to actually play the end game of Path of Exile, you have to spend money. And here's what I mean by that. In the end game of Path of Exile, you have these maps that you run, and in running these maps, you essentially have to spend currency to level them up and to get them to be pretty much the way you want them to be. Otherwise, you're just wasting your money. And just like when you craft items in the game, you are essentially crafting maps that give you the chance to drop better items. So for example, the 69 map, you saw me use at the very start of the video, a couple of orbs to get these two stats on it, which give me 36% more items. Generally what you do is you're using your currency to roll these high percentage maps, and when I say high percentage, I mean upwards 80s, 90s, 100s. I ran a map earlier today that was 120%. Now, this problem is further compounded by the fact that, or I call it a problem really, by the fact that not only are you having to spend your currency to roll these maps, the drop rates within these maps aren't very good. And so what can happen is you spend somewhere around, let's say, you spend a little over a chaos for the chisels to build the base of the map. Then you spend an orb of alchemy or a regal orb, and then you spend a couple of chaos just to get the right mods on it so that the percentage is high enough. Because you can roll a map with your chaos orbs, and it only has something like, I don't know, 50% increased item drops. That's terrible for a map. So what ends up happening is you spend all your currency or your chaos orbs to try to get the right mods on it. Now, keeping this in mind, I don't know about you, but I only have a certain amount of chaos orbs, and if I spend, let's say, 3 to 5 on one map, well, if I don't have a drop in that map that gives me 3 to 5 chaos orbs worth, then I just dumped 1/4 or 1/5 of an exalt on a map, which can be pretty frustrating. Now, in addition to having to spend your currency on these maps, you also have the problem that you find as you get higher up in the maps, and that's this problem of really terrible drop rates. And this goes for, first of all, items. The odds of you finding a 5 chaos item isn't terrible. It's just that I have run several maps where I vendor tons and tons of rares because it's all pretty much worthless. So first of all, you have a low chance of actually finding these 5 chaos items. The second issue is that you also have a low chance of finding the currency in the form of maps. So think of it this way. You have a level 73 map, which is a high level map, and you dump 5 chaos on it. Nothing drops that's worth 5 chaos, and additionally, you don't get another map drop in there. So you don't get another 73 map, or you don't get a 72 map. You get a level 66 map. Well, now you've dumped your 5 chaos into it, and also you have no map to actually continue running the end game. And so what you've gotten out of this is that you've dumped your currency and you can't progress forward. So what you do is you either go and you buy another map from someone, or you start over and you try to re-level back to the map level that you were at. And this can be very frustrating because, especially if you don't have a lot of money, you've just spent a huge amount of your wealth. I mean, yesterday, for example, I dropped an entire exalt worth on 3 maps, and 2 out of those 3 didn't drop anything, and the third one finally gave me a 75 map. But so you spend all this wealth, and if you're not getting the drops, then you're pretty much out of luck here. So you really have to hope. Now, people will argue that, I mean, it evens out long term. I mean, for every map that doesn't drop, you're getting the same drop somewhere else. Regardless, though, what you have to keep in mind is the fact that in order to participate in the end game of Path of Exile, you really have to spend much of your wealth to get it done. Now, in addition to all of these things, to run the end game of Path of Exile, you also have to keep in mind that the mods can be very difficult in terms of clearing a map. You know, right now I'm clearing the 69. I mean, this is a joke map for me, but earlier today when I did a 76 map, I mean, it was pretty difficult. And what you have to know is, at the end of Path of Exile, in the end game of Path of Exile, solo play is not really that viable anymore, because the chances of you finding gear that is an upgrade for you is very slim. There's so many affixes, there's so many modifiers, there's just so much in play. It's very unlikely that you're able to find an item as often as you were when leveling up, just because there's less items out there that are actually an improvement for you. So because of that, not only are you relying on, you have 2 options. You have to go to team play, and the second option there is to hopefully, look at that, I got a unique. The second option is to trade up for your gear, and this is where the second problem, or really the third problem, is created, in that no longer can you just spend your items, spend your currency to buy an item, to buy maps. You're now spending your currency to upgrade your gear. So right now I have about 20 exalts worth of gear on my character, and that keeps me from being able to spend any money. And as you can see, I'm pretty much broke. I got 10 Orb of Alchemies and I got 2 Divine Orbs. That's it. And here, I mean, you can even see I have this Necropolis map. I'm trying to roll a maze affix, and I've spent all my currency on it, and so I spent probably 3 or 4 orbs on this already. And you have players who will spend an exalted orb on a map like this. And so all of these things together just make the end game very difficult and very frustrating. And although it's very rewarding and very fun, you need to know that you will probably never be rich in Path of Exile because of it. The odds are very slim that you're ever going to have the wealth to do anything. And even though I can clear maps, you know, I can clear my 76 maps and clear my 75 maps, and they aren't too difficult, I still pretty much lose all my money in the process of making these maps. So anyway, good luck to you guys. Hopefully you have better luck than me, and hopefully you find a way to make money better than I can for the end game of Path of Exile. See you later.